Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Vance, who is going to be the next promo character coming to RTS. Now this is the first ever Vance character we've had, so visually we're not going off any sort of base. We can see he's like a comms expert. He has got the comms gear on his back, he has got the flashbangs by the looks of things. He's got a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of stuff around him. He's also got a really cool looking weapon. On the left hand side you can see in a bit more detail it's got like a bayonet on the front. But you can also see he gets a really cool looking helmet which has like, I don't know, like a wolf skull or the top of a wolf, basically the look sort of engraved onto the helmet. It looks really nice. He'll probably get that visual upgrade at Limit Break 3, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll check out his stats at level 680 at Limit Break 2. You can see he has got 14,120 attack, 16,474 defense, and 16,474 HP. So a very defensive character with those stats being obviously the highest, but also identical. He is a tough character, of course, holding that rifle. He's considered a medic, so that's quite nice when it comes to a defense team medic being that nice defensive stats. Mythic character, of course. And he is yet another character to join the new allegiance called the Hidden. The original character that was in that allegiance is obviously Eva, and Vance will be the second character. Now first we'll check out Vance's Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Reversal of Fortune. It has got a recharge rate of 66 AP, so reasonable speed for an attack team. On a defense team you may need to use AP on attack to get this going, but there are other parts of Vance's kit which will make AP gain a little bit, you know, different. We're going to check out the rest of this though. Deal 300% damage to a line of enemies, revive up to 2 teammates with 50% of their max HP. Now obviously the 300% damage doesn't seem like a lot, but if he is on a defense team and he hits an offensive character like a damage dealer, he's going to do really good damage because they're not going to be, a lot of the time, not going to have too many defensive stats. Sometimes you might have that odd HP mod floating around, but it's not going to be too crazy. Obviously if he does trait damage it's going to be amplified. If he's in a team with Tara and Tara has rushed first, because he's a medic, this is going to get amplified as well. So you don't necessarily have to boost this in any way to still do pretty decent damage. The second half is pretty self-explanatory. 2 characters get revived with 50% of their max HP. There are going to be some bonus HP on these characters because he is a medic and because he'll have spirit. Obviously we'll have to upgrade that passive, so they'll get like an extra 20% bonus HP on top of this 50%, so it will actually be not too bad there. But this is obviously, I think, the first double revive on an Adrenaline Rush. I think we've had it on a signature move. I think we've got Erica. Is it just Erica? There's so many characters now. I think this is the first double revive on a rush, and it's very familiar. Tough character, double revive on the rush. Other parts of the kit. Let's check out how this works though. But it should be pretty easy to understand. Okay, so as you can see, I have got my Adrenaline Rush, and I have foolishly taken 2 4-star characters, so they got taken out very early. This is obviously just to give you an example of how the revive works. You're going to target a line, and this guy definitely has the potential of being used on an attack team. But on a defense team, it'll be kind of random. He may not attack a line of characters. He might attack the central character, but regardless, he's going to do 300% damage to at least 1 enemy, up to 2. And then the 2 characters are going to get revived. You saw that little bit of bonus HP on top as well. So you can see 50% is 255, and then 20% is 52. And obviously this is going to scale. So if someone's got, 50,000 HP, 50% is 25,000. And that 50 of the 20% is going to be, what's that? That's going to be 10,000 bonus HP just from being revived. So it's actually pretty nice overall. And like I said, attack or defense, this guy has pretty good usage just with that rush. And we'll look at the skill upgrades for the rush, and you can see at grade 3 it gets a 100% damage boost, so it goes from 200% to 300%. At grade 5 it gets an extra revive target, so once you get 2 gold mythics you'll be able to unlock that, and it goes from 1 revive target to 2. And at Limit Break 2, which would require 4 gold mythics, you get an extra 25% revived HP. This is actually a pretty big deal. It goes from 25% to 50%. That is where a lot of the power is in terms of, being able to have big amount of stats on a character instantly after picking them up. I'd say that's pretty important, and that being on Limit Break 2 makes it where you're going to have to pull a lot of characters to be able to get a Limit Break 2 character here. So overall, this rush is powerful. It also has the potential to be upgraded once Limit Break 3 comes around. We don't know what that Limit Break 3 upgrade would be on this character, but it could potentially be this one. It's only got 3 upgrades. 3 to 4 seems to be about right for upgrades, and well, I mean, it could be a HP boost, it could be a damage boost. It'd be very interesting to see where this goes. But next up, we'll check out Vance's signature move, and this is where a lot of power comes in, and especially with the AP gain. Like I said, with his rush is only 66 AP, so he would require AP on attack to get a natural turn 3 rush on a defense team. However, this signature move is going to change that a little bit. It's called Eyes on Me. It has an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 2 turns, number of uses unlimited, deal 150% damage to a line of enemies. Those enemies get taunt for 2 turns. Now, you know how taunt works. Basically, if you get attacked by a taunted character, you are going to gain 5 bonus AP per attack on top of the AP you would normally gain based on the HP you lose. So those 2 characters would guarantee 10 AP gain the first turn, and then 10 AP the second turn, plus probably like not much, like 2 to 3 AP on a very high statted character on the amount of HP they're going to lose from basic attacks. Unless you're obviously getting trait damage done against you, then it's going to be a little bit more increased. Or if you've got AP on defense on the weapon, obviously if you want to build it away, it's up to you. But you could build a stat-based weapon. That means you would have defense and HP in the main slots, and that way he would still be very tanky and still get a reasonably quick natural rush. I think it still would be natural rush turn 3, just because in the first 2 turns, because if this was a second turn signature move, it would be a little bit different. Because it's first turn, those first 2 turns you're going to gain an extra 20 AP. It's almost guaranteed he's going to get a 3rd turn rush at this point. So here we are off the start of the fight, and you can see I've got no AP, so no AP gain weapons on any of the other characters. I have got a pure stat weapon, but it doesn't make any difference off the first turn because I'm going to do my signature move. I'll gain 35 AP. This will be the same on attack or defense. We're going to attack some other characters, and this is just so that I don't control the characters in the bottom slots. And you'll see the AP gain I get. We'll try and see how many characters actually attack Vance here. The 2 down the bottom will guarantee the extra 10, like I said, but if one of the other 3 attack, we can sort of take that into consideration. I'm going to just defend with Glenn because he gives AP if he crits. You can see he got attacked a couple of times, but you can see now he's on 51 AP. So if I do a basic attack on a defense team, he's going to have his rush. And on a defense team with a command, could potentially be command rushed in that situation. So he's going to be absolutely fine when it comes to AP gain, just because of that turn 1 line taunt. And this signature move is extremely similar to Gold Mythic Connor, and they could potentially be used in the same defense team, but they could also potentially be used in the same attack team, where you could taunt 4 characters off of turn 1 with that little combo. Could be actually pretty good there, honestly. If we look at the upgrades, you can see at grade 2, it gets +1 to the taunt duration, so that's an easy one to come by. So it goes from 1 turn to 2 turns to 2 characters. At grade 4, it gets -2 to the starting cooldown. Again, a very easy upgrade to get. So it goes from turn 3 starting cooldown to turn 1 starting cooldown. That means you can do it on the first turn. Limit Break 1 is where it's going to be a cooldown reduction from 3 to 2. And this is actually quite important for the second group of rushing. He is going to, maybe run into some AP issues for the second rush if he doesn't have this. If he has this, the flow should be absolutely fine in terms of like doing basic attacks and signature moves in the right place to still gain AP. But without this, it might just be a little bit out of sync. He'll still gain AP when the taunted attacks come in, but he might need to do a basic attack afterwards, which is what the first turn enables him to do. Because he can get the initial taunt off, his second turn he can do the basic attack. If it was a taunt turn 2 instead of turn 1, he wouldn't be able to do the basic attack afterwards, so he might not have gained enough AP in that time. So it might be a situation that he runs into if you're not Limit Break 2 for the second time the rush comes around, which won't necessarily be that important, because by that point you've slowed it down by a certain amount of time. But if you want to extend the fight as long as possible, that's generally what you want. You want him to be able to do this as often as possible. Now, so far, so good when it comes to the power of Vance. He's got a very nice rush. His signature move is something we've seen already in the game, but it's very powerful. But his mythic abilities is where things get extremely powerful. He has got Spirit because he is a medic. That means 20% of all healing will be granted as bonus HP. You saw that with the revive. He hasn't got much heals on his kit so far, but he has got a little bit more heals in his mythic abilities. You can see his second passive is called Regroup. When reviving a teammate, 40% chance one other teammate gets Guardian Shield. And that is very interesting because, you know, he revives 2, so, you know, there's potential it can have 2 chances at happening there. But he has also got other ways to revive characters in his kit, which we will get onto later. Next one is called Selfless, and this is where a bit more healing comes in. When being attacked, heal one other teammate by 30% of their max HP. This is a 100% chance to happen, and with those 2 taunted attacks on turn 1 and turn 2, well, yeah, he's going to be able to heal quite a lot of damage up here. So you having focus on your team, or, you know, controlling this character as early as possible is going to be very, very important to being able to deal with teams with him on. The last one is called Grit. When entering Outlast, 100% chance to get 50% Halo for 2 turns. Now, this is pretty much the Halo specialist skill. So he is almost a double specialist in this situation, because you can see he's got a specialist skill already, and he has effectively another specialist here, because Halo is a specialist skill. So the combination between Outlast and Halo is going to be crazy. It means he's going to rush and then come back afterwards with 50% HP, and you're going to have to take him out again. And will he go into Halo once again? Is it one time per fight, or is it continuous? Well, we'll just test it out. Okay, so we'll test out the Outlast and Halo loot potential. I have geared up Rosita very nicely, so she should be able to nuke him. He's not got any leader bonus, no mods, no defensive weapon. He is in a lot of trouble, basically. He is in a lot of trouble here. So we will nuke him out, but he does go into Outlast, gets that adrenaline rush, gets 50% Halo, as you can see. So I'll just defend on everybody else. We've got one character in here in Laurie, just so that he does actually come back. If he's the last character alive, it will not work, of course. So the rush will come in. If there's 2 revivable or 1 revivable character, they would obviously be revived. And then basically whoever remains would have to survive their next turn, and then he'd be picked back up. Now the question is, does this turn right here, does he get Halo again? The taunted attack should come in. He does. So it's just an endless loop. He's going to be able to get Halo every single time he gets taken out. Even if I was to control him right now, for instance, if I did attack with 1 here, I could potentially hit a crit and confuse him. It just means he wouldn't rush, but he'd still get the Halo. So I still have to, you know, decap him in some way. I have to decap him with a specialist, or I have to do it with crosshairs. It's going to be obviously very problematic. So we'll look at the upgrades for his passives, and you can see he gets Regroup 1, the first half of Regroup, at grade 1. That's 20% chance. He gets Spirit 1 at grade 2. At grade 3, he gets Regroup 2, which stacks with Regroup 1, so that goes up to 40% chance at the Guardian Shield when reviving teammates. At grade 4, he gets Selfless, the full amount of Selfless that we know so far, and that is the 100% chance to heal a teammate by 30% of their max HP. At grade 5, you can see he gets the first half of Grit, and that's a 50% chance to get 50% Halo for 2 turns. At grade 5, Limit Break 1, you can see that he gets the second half of Spirit, which stacks as the first half of Spirit, obviously goes up to 20% of bonus HP potential. And at Limit Break 2, he gets Grit 2. And it's just when entering Outlast, he gets the second half, the 50% chance to get 50% Halo for 2 turns. Obviously stacks with Grit 1, goes up to 100% chance to get Halo when he goes into the Outlast state. Now obviously there is two ways around this. There is being able to decap the character, or being able to normalize the character. If he doesn't go into Outlast, he shouldn't actually revive in the first place, because Halo won't proc, because it's about him going into Outlast. So this is just something to note. You know, there is a little bit of normalizing the game, and it's potentially going to come into the game more in the future. But otherwise, Vance is a monster, because like I said, he's almost a double specialist. And the other specialist skill he's got, which is kind of obvious, which we've been seeing just happening just through the tests, is Outlast. When the specialist is taken out, their death is delayed for 1 turn, during which they may still take an action, and they receive 100% AP. This means that he could potentially rush and get that revive off. And then obviously he's gone, right? He's gone. but with the passives, we know that he could potentially just pick himself up the next turn. And the way his rush works, which is actually kind of interesting, and this entire kit works, even if you leave him till last, he is going to revive 2 teammates, and those 2 teammates will allow him to halo back. He has to be decapped. I don't think there's any way around it. You have to take a decap in to have any chance against this character. Otherwise, it will be impossible to take him out. It'll be impossible because unless you take out the 2 teammates that get revived, but they're most likely going to be like absolutely mega tanks anyway. Going to get at least 25% HP, 50% HP, which is going to be like 25 to 30,000 HP. And you're going to have to take out 2 characters like that. Unless you've got rushes ready to go, well, Vance is just going to revive himself, and then you're going to have to get into that loop once again. So the teams he can get in right now, yeah, it's not going to be fun. Now, I guess you thought it was over, but it is not. Vance has an attached weapon. It is a 4-star weapon, which you can upgrade yourself in. I'm thinking that you're going to upgrade this weapon if you do get your hands on this character. Vance's Revival Dragon Tooth Rifle. It has a 35% defense base, a medium bonus to AP when taking damage, and then lastly, in the 3rd slot, Defensive Reviving. When being attacked, a better chance to revive a teammate with 20% of their max HP. So obviously this is a brand new 3rd slot. We've never seen anything like this before when it comes to being attacked, I don't think. There might have been one character that actually had this in the past, but I can't really remember. But this makes him, windowless to a certain extent. Unless he's attacked first, it can be disarmed. But if he's attacked first, there's no chance of him actually reviving anyone. It's free AP gain. But what I can see people doing is putting HP in the 2nd slot, upgrading the HP of defense if they so wish, whichever one they want. And then in the 4th slot, I can see people putting the daze on this weapon, just so that even if you do attack him first, you could potentially control vital parts of a character's kit. And then just increasing the defense and HP again. So he's going to be very tanky. It'll work with the way I said with the loop on his signature move and rush and stuff like that. And then he's going to have some form of control in that 4th slot. You can't disarm the 4th slot as well, obviously, but you can avoid it. Disarms cannot be controlled at all by 4 slots, but they can't stop other people from being controlled by them. But the revive is the only potential there that could be disarmed, and it's a very powerful weapon, obviously. At least I would say definitely upgrade this if you get your hands on this weapon, just because then at least it's an option, even if you do want to switch it first to like Elusive Impair and Tough Healing in the 4th slot. So that is Gold Mythic Vance, and obviously this guy is going to be just powerful by himself. I think, like I said in a couple of the clips before, he will work on an attack team quite well. And if he's teamed up with someone like Rick, you know Rick's going to be alive a lot of the time, so the likeliness of this guy being the last alive, and I mean, actually, honestly, there's not ever any decap on defense teams really, so this guy almost will guarantee you victories in raids, just because, like I said, if he's the last one alive, on his way out, he will actually revive 2 people, so unless he's controlled in his outlast state, he should always revive. So yeah, pretty nasty combo potential on attack teams. Really good safety net character, but on defense teams, in Tara teams for instance, I already see these kind of like almost undefeatable teams coming into play, and Vance is going to definitely just jump into those teams. And while I think those Tara teams are already pretty nasty and they're kind of worrisome, I'm more worried about what comes after that, what comes after this sort of level of power. How do you get people to go to the next team? And yeah, it's like I said, it's getting to that crazy level already on defense teams. We're on to our 4th or 5th whale meta right now when it comes to spending meta on defense teams. And I think we haven't really got a free-to-play attack team, one free-to-play attack team yet that's been released. Just a lot of loose characters. Very strange situation that the game finds itself in. Hopefully it manages to pick itself back up, because I can see the situation getting pretty dire in the coming weeks and months. Let me know your thoughts on Gold Mythic Vance in the comments down below. I want to thank you very much for tuning into my video, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.